I see. We have discussed about. We are discussing about Bohr's classification. So, in the part of discussion of Bohr's classification, so elements are classified based on the chemical properties. So, altogether, so in Bohr's classification, we have seen that there are four classes of elements. First class of elements are representative elements, so inert gases. Next, representative elements, representative elements. Next, transitional elements, and next inner transitional elements. So these are four types of elements present in all the elements are classified into all elements in the periodic table are classified into four groups, right? So we have seen about inert gases and representative elements. So now we look into transitional elements. What are transitional elements? The elements in which last two orbits or else last two shells are incomplete. The elements in which last two shells are incomplete are said to be they are classified as transitional elements. So their properties are intermediate. Their properties are intermediate between S and P block elements. S and P block elements. See, S block elements are strong metals, whereas P block elements are some weak metals. So I mean, P block contains weak metals, metalloids, non-metals, and inert gases even. So here, if you see the position of transitional elements in the periodic table, so they are located between the S and P block. Actually, these are S block. These are S block elements. These are D block elements, and these are P block elements, and this is F block elements. These are F block elements. So here there are two groups, here there are 6 groups, and here there are 10 groups, and here there are 2 series of elements. So we look into the F block later on. So altogether, the D block elements, they are located between S block and P block, and in D block elements, so there are 10 groups. Out of 10 groups, so here last group of the D block elements. What is that last group? Second to be the last group of D block elements are not included in transitional series or transitional elements. Okay, see here, if you see the these are strong metals. Here P block contains weak metals. So this portion it contains weak metals. and these are strong metals. So the strong metals are converted into weak metals through these elements. So that means they are through these. So here the metallic nature, it is transmitted transferred from strong metallic nature to weak metallic nature through these D block elements. Hence, these D block elements, they possess the intermediate properties between S and P block elements. D block elements possess intermediate properties between S and P block elements. And one more thing about transition elements is, all transitional elements all transitional elements, all transitional elements are D block, but all D block, or because here even D block includes these elements are also includes D block, so even second B also includes D block. So all transition elements are D block, but all D block elements are not transitional, because exception is there, because second B group elements are not transitional elements, they are not transitional elements. Why second B group? What are the second B group elements? Second B group elements are zinc, cadmium, mercury, copernicium. Zinc, cadmium, mercury and copernicium are the second B group elements. See, if you see these elements, for example take zinc, its configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d10. So this is the electronic configuration of zinc. So here, so this is the last orbit, fourth orbit is the last orbit. Okay, so last orbit is incomplete. See, because fourth orbit's maximum capacity, it is 32 electrons, but here in zinc there are only 2 electrons in zinc atom in fourth orbit. That means fourth orbit is incomplete. Next, third orbit. So these are the third orbit electrons. So how many electrons are there in third orbit? So 2 plus 6 plus 10, altogether 18 electrons are there. So third orbit is completely filled, because 2n square, by following 2n square, 2 into 3 square, that is 2 into 9 is equal to 18 electrons. So third orbit contains 18 electrons. So actually third orbit's maximum capacity is 18 electrons. So in zinc the third orbit is having 18 electrons. Here 2, here 6 and here 10. Altogether 18 electrons are there. That means third orbit is completely filled. But fourth orbit means last orbit. Here last orbit in zinc is incomplete. So how many incompletely filled orbitals are there? How many incompletely filled orbits are there? Only one incompletely filled orbit is there. So all other orbits are completely filled. But transitional elements means last 2 shells are incomplete. Here there is only 1 shell incomplete. So that is why zinc is not treated as transitional element. Not only zinc, cadmium, mercury and copernicium, all second B group elements, they are not treated as transitional elements. They are D block elements because the last electron is present in D subshell. Hence these elements are D block elements but not transitional elements. So in this way all transitional elements are D block. See here, all these are all transitional elements. These are called as transitional elements. So these are transitional elements from third B onwards up to second B. So all together they are called as D block elements, even including second B. They are D block. Okay, that means transitional elements, so they do not include second B from D block. So that is the thing we need to learn. Okay, na? And their properties are intermediate between S and P block, right? Next, let us learn about the general electronic configuration of transitional elements. So, if you see the general electronic configuration of transitional elements, general electron configuration, so it will be like this. So, last but one shell. In the last but one shell, the D orbits, the D subshell may contain 1 to 10 electrons, and in last orbit of these transitional elements, the last orbit of this transitional element, so it may contain 0 to 2 electrons sometimes, 0 to 2 electrons. So this is the general electronic configuration of transitional elements. See, the second B group elements, they are called as non-typical transitional elements. They are called as non-typical transitional elements. Non-typical transitional elements. Non-typical, because typical transitional elements means which shows the properties of transitional elements, but here second B group element, they do not show the properties of transitional elements, hence they are called as non-typical transitional elements. Okay, or they are also called as volatile metals, or they are also called as volatile metals. They are also called as volatile metals. And one more thing. See, if you see here in representative elements, only S subshell electrons and P subshell electrons will participate in chemical bonding. That means only the electrons which are present in last orbit of representative elements will participate in chemical bonding. But in case of transitional elements, both these electrons and these electrons will participate in chemical bonding. So that means N-1 d electrons and Ns electrons. That means N-1 d and Ns electrons will participate in chemical reactions. To form bonds. That means in the bond formation, the transitional elements, they include N-1 d electrons and Ns electrons will participate in the bond formation. Okay, right. So now let us learn about the characteristic properties of transitional elements. So I am rubbing it off. Characteristic properties of transitional elements. Characteristic properties of transitional elements. See, if you see characteristic properties means That means these transition elements, they have some special properties. That means these elements, they are characterized by these properties. Okay, not no other elements. Other elements do not possess these properties. So that means a peculiar properties. Okay, so these elements have these special properties on it. Okay, transition elements. So what are these properties? The characteristic properties. They are hard and heavy metals. See, simply we can say that they are hard and heavy. Hard and heavy metals. They are hard and heavy metals. They have variable oxidation states. Variable oxidation states. Variable oxidation states. They form colored ions in solutions. They form colored ions. They form colored ions in solutions. They form colored ions in solutions because DD transition, due to DD transition. What is DD transition? That means, so the d electrons will transfer. The d electrons will transfer from one orbital to another orbital, or else the d electrons from one atom will transfer into the d orbitals of other atom. The electrons, they may transfer. So transition of DD electrons takes place due to the transition of DD electron. So these transition elements, they form colored ions. They form metal complexes. Metal complexes. For example, suppose if we Cn taken 6 times, okay. So actually this is a complex compound. It is not a simple compound, because here this type of brackets generally it is denoted for complex compounds only. So only in complex compounds you will find this type of square brackets. Okay, so here this metal iron, it is forming a complex. Suppose if this substance is dissolved in water, it breaks into ions. It breaks into 3 potassium ions, and this is called as complex ion. This is called as complex ion. Okay, so here what is this metal is forming a complex compound. So metal form complexes. That means complex compounds. Complexes means here complex compounds. Such type of compounds are said to be complex compounds. For example, FeCl3, if I write, so it is a simple compound. But the same iron, if it is written like this, so it is said to be complex compound. Actually, in complex compound, the metal will stand in the central position, whereas these ions are said this part, or else these are said to be this group is said to be ligands. They are called as ligands. So what happens? So these ligands, they supply electrons. There are 6 ligands which supply electrons to this iron. These 6 ligands, they supply electron pair. Okay, like this cyanide. cyanide through carbon. So from carbon these 6 electrons will enter into iron. Okay, now so this iron it is having so this is the arrangement of this complex this complex ion. This is called as complex ion. Okay, and this is a complex compound. From complex compound you will get complex ions. So like this. So the here the iron is forming a metal complex compound. It's a complex compound of iron like this. So such compounds are formed by only transitional elements. Only transitional elements they form complex compounds. Right. Next one. They are paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic in nature. Already we have learnt about paramagnetic in nature. So what is paramagnetic? Paramagnetic nature is shown when unpaired electrons are present. When unpaired electrons are present, then they show paramagnetic nature. That means they are weakly attracted by the magnetic field. So that means these transition elements they show paramagnetic property and they exhibit catalytic activity. They exhibit catalytic activity. See, most of the d block elements, most of the transition elements, they act as catalysts. For example, take nickel. So it's a catalyst in hydrogenation of oils. Hydrogenation of oils. So in the reaction, hydrogenation of oils, it is a reaction. It's a chemical reaction. So where the oil is converted into dalda. So the liquid oil is converted into solid material known as margarine or dalda. So in that reaction, nickel is used as a catalyst. For example, take iron. So iron, it is used here in the preparation of ammonia, known as the process known as Haber's process. In Haber's process of preparation of ammonia, so this iron is used. Okay, molybdenum, in the same process, molybdenum is used as a promoter. For the same reaction. So there are like this. There are so many transition elements which can act as a catalyst. Okay. They are good conductors of heat and electricity because they are metals. As they are metals, they are good conductors of heat and electricity. They are good conductors of both the heat and electricity. Heat as well as electricity. Okay. Next, they form alloys. Already we have learnt about alloys. Alloys are formed from these transitional elements. So transitional elements are used for the preparation of alloys. What is an alloy? Alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals. Okay, two or more metals. Sometimes non-metals are also mixed with the metals. Okay, so alloys, they have improved, their properties are better than the metals. For example, iron plus carbon, we call this mixture of iron and carbon as steel. So here iron it's a soft metal, already we learnt. So with this only iron, pure iron, we cannot build bridges, or else we cannot build any constructions. We cannot make any constructions because those constructions will collapse if you use only pure iron. So that is why iron is not used. So instead of iron, steel is used. What is steel? Steel is a mixture of iron and carbon. So it's an alloy. So it's a mixture of iron and carbon. It's a steel. So this is steel. So this is an example only. So this is an example. Example, steel. Steel is a mixture of iron plus carbon, and sometimes chromium and nickel is also mixed, because so in order to get stainless steel we'll use chromium and nickel also. So here iron, only iron cannot have hardness because it is smooth, it is soft. So only iron cannot be used for construction. So iron when mixed with carbon, it can be used for construction, because iron and carbon, this mixture is said to be steel. The rods which we use for construction, long rods we will use for the construction, so they are nothing but steel rods. Okay, so and these are also the metals which are mixed with this steel in order to prevent the rust formation. So now when these metals are mixed with steel, then it is said to be stainless steel. So this stainless steel or also steel is an alloy. So like this, so many alloys are there, like brass, bronze, gunmetal. So many, there are so many alloys which are very useful. Duralumin, for example, duralumin is an alloy. I am writing here duralumin. Duralumin. It's a mixture of aluminum, copper, and some other metals, etc. Aluminum, copper, and some other metals are mixed with it. So only aluminum, for example, duralumin, it is used to prepare frames of aircraft. Frames of aircraft. So when frame of aircraft is made up of only aluminum, no doubt, aluminum is a light metal, but it is not a strong metal. So aircraft, if it takes up, what happens? Sometimes it may collapse, or else it may break down. Okay, and cause a disaster. It may be damaged, or else it may be dangerous. So in order to give strength to that aluminum metal, so some other metals like copper, etc. are mixed with aluminum. Now what happens? So this mixture, it is said to be aluminum. It is said to be all alloy. So this alloy, the name of this alloy is duralumin. So now this this material, it is not only lighter in weight, it can withstand large weights also, it can withstand without breaking. So like this, duralumin is an alloy. So aluminum duralumin is used in the place where aluminum cannot alone be used. Okay, so like this, alloys have so many advantages. Right. And one more thing, see the characteristics. These characteristic features of transitional elements are due to some special properties of these elements. These properties, these elements have small size. Reason for characteristic properties. Reasons for characteristic properties. Okay, so what are the reasons for characteristic properties? These elements, transition elements, are smaller size. Okay, they are smaller in size. They have high nuclear charge. And also they contain unpaired electrons. Unpaired d electrons. Due to the presence of unpaired d electrons only, they show they are colored. They form colored ions. Colored ions are formed due to unpaired d electrons. When unpaired d electrons are present, they undergo dd transition. So if they are If there are no unpaired electrons, they cannot form dd transitions. So unpaired d electrons are the reason for colored formation and paramagnetic nature, and here good conductor nature, and so many other things. Okay, and these are the some special properties which bring the characteristic properties for these transitional elements. Okay, right. Now let us learn about the inner transitional elements. The fourth group of Bohr's classification, inner transitional elements. Inner transitional elements. See these elements, these inner transitional elements. So these elements, in these elements, all these elements, there are 28 elements. There are 28 elements which belong to inner transitional series. So these 28 elements are divided to two series. So one series, the name of one series is lanthanides, and the other series of elements, lanthanides, there are 14, starting from cerium, whose atomic number is 58, to lutetium, whose atomic number is 71. Cerium to lutetium, lanthanides, 14 elements, and actinides, these are also 14 elements. Okay, they start from thorium, whose atomic number is 90, to lawrencium, whose atomic number is 103. Okay, so altogether there are 28 elements made into two series. Lanthanides are also called as rare earths. Rare earth elements. See here, most of the actinides, that means after uranium. So after uranium, that is uranium, its atomic number is 92. After uranium, all elements are man-made, or else we can call it as synthetic elements. All elements are said to be man-made elements or synthetic elements. Okay, so they are present in actinides. Actinides contain most of the actinides are synthetic elements. Okay, the elements which come after 92, all elements are said to be synthetic elements. So after uranium, so all these elements are called as transuranic elements. Transuranium elements. They are called as transuranium elements. The elements which come after uranium, that means whose atomic number is above 92. That means that is from 93 onwards. From 93 onwards, all elements are said to be transuranic elements. Okay, right. So these are synthetic elements. And one more thing. So what are transitional elements? Actually, in all these elements, last three orbits are last 3 orbits are incompletely filled. Last 3 orbits are incompletely filled. What are the last 3 orbits? Nth orbit, n-1 orbit, and n-2 orbit. So all the 3 orbits are incompletely filled. Okay, they are called as inner transitional elements. See, in all these elements, last 2 shells have similar configuration. Last 2 shells have similar configuration. Of electrons. Therefore, all these elements show similar physical and chemical properties. They show similar and physical and chemical properties. See, when do the elements show similar chemical properties? When the outermost number of electrons, when the number of electrons present in the outermost orbit are same. Okay, all the elements which have same number of electrons in the valence shell or else in the outermost orbit will show similar chemical properties. So here in all inner transitional elements, so the last, not only last orbit, even last but one orbit also will have similar electronic configuration. So that is why last 2, that is why all the elements will show, all the inner transition elements show similar physical and chemical properties. Okay, they have common oxidation number plus 3. They have common oxidation number plus 3. That means all the elements will form plus 3 oxidation state. For example, cerium will form plus 3. Okay, so protactinium will form plus 3, gadolinium will form plus 3, lutetium will form plus 3. So all these elements, thorium will form plus 3, uranium will form plus 3, californium will form plus 3, so mendelevium will form plus 3. So like this, all the plus 3 is the common oxidation state for all these elements. See, if you see the general electronic configuration, so I am rubbing it off. General electronic configuration. You see the general electronic configuration of inner transitional elements. It will be like this: n-2 F1214, n-1 n-2 F1214, n-1 D 0 or 1 NS contain this contains 2 electrons, NS2. So this is that means last orbit contains 2 electrons in S, and last but one orbit it contains S electrons, P electrons, and D electrons may be 0 or 1. And in the last but 2 shell contains S electrons, P electrons, D electrons, and even F electrons, and the F electrons may be 1 to 14. So this is the general electronic configuration, and this is applicable to all elements. General electronic configuration is applicable to all elements. So in this elements 4F1 is absent, 5F1 is absent, 4F1 is absent, 5F1 is absent. Okay, so like this. So already we have learned that these are said to be, lanthanides and actinides. Lanthanides are said to be rare earths, and actinides, they are said to be mostly synthetic elements, and the elements which come after uranium, they are called as trans-uranium elements or transuranic elements. Okay, right. So this is all about inner transition elements. Now we have seen about the Bohr's classification, so which says that all the elements are classified into four groups: inert gases, representative elements, transition elements, and inner transition elements. So what are these inert gases? In inert gases, so all shells are completely filled. In inert gases, all shells are completely filled, and all the elements of inert gases possess NS2 NP6 configuration, whereas representative elements, okay, last shell is incompletely filled, last shell is incomplete. So where in representative elements, last shell is incomplete. In transitional elements, last two shells are incomplete. Okay, and the electron is present in d subshell, n-1 d subshell. Last electron, differentiating electron, is present in n-1 d subshell. Okay, here in this case, differentiating electron is present in p subshell. In case of representative elements, it may differentiating electron may present in S or p subshell, whereas in d block elements, transitional elements, so differentiating electron is present in d subshell. So the differentiating electron is present in d subshell in the transitional elements. And inner transitional elements, so in inner transitional elements, so last three shells are incomplete, and the differentiating electron, so here differentiating electron is present in F subshell. Okay, that means inner transitional elements, they are F block elements. Transitional elements, they are D block elements. Representative elements, they may be S block or P block. Okay, and inert gases, they are P block elements. So like this, the Bohr classification will explain about the arrangement of elements. Okay, with this, the Bohr's classification is finished. Right.